Hello, and welcome back to the Business First Creatives podcast. I am here today to talk to fellow documentary family photographer, Amy Dangerfield. And guys, we are going to get in it today. And she has the most unique way of marketing her business that I have perhaps heard. And I am excited to get her to share it with you. Good morning, Amy. Welcome to the podcast.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm so excited to have you. I mean, just so that the listening audience knows, guys, I sent out an email to my CRM Blueprint students and said, hey, I would like to feature a few of you on my podcast, but I'm not going to feature you as a student. Do you have a really awesome marketing thing that you do, or do you have a really big win that you celebrated in your business? And so when Amy wrote me back about hers, I was like, oh my gosh, how quickly can we get you on the podcast?
Yeah, I'm excited because I do think it's unique, but that probably is why, I think nobody thinks of it. So it works really well.
Well, let's jump into it because I feel like we're, vague booking, as the phrase says. We're talking about it, but we haven't actually told them what it is. So, Amy, why don't you tell me about what you are doing that is really boosting marketing inside of your family photography business?
So what I'm doing is actually, I call it providing community service as a way to attract potential clients. Mm-hmm. So one thing I've been doing is that I actually teach this series of photography workshop through our local public library. And I've been doing it since. So I initially started doing it as a way of just giving back. But then I realized that this is actually an amazing marketing strategy to grow my email list and then to get hot leads and then turn them into my clients later.
Okay, so let's take a step back. So you are teaching photography classes to parents, right? To just people in your community through the library. And this is leading to you getting hot leads for your photography business. So first, because I know everyone's going to want to know, how did this class come to be? Did you approach the library with the idea? Did they put out an open call? I mean, how did that happen?
Yeah, so I actually approached them. This is the library that we go to all the time with my kids. We go to story time almost every single week. And then they have this printed flyer for all the events that's happening. And so this is the library for our whole city, right? Mm-hmm. And they have a couple of branches, I think, 4 or something. So they have a flyer for the information for events happening at all branches. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, there's a photography class offered. At one point, it was just very general, not for parents and all that. So I went and took that class and I was like, oh, I can do this. And then so I went and then just talked to the librarian who does story time. I'm like, hey, I'm a photographer. And if I want to teach a class at the library, how should I go about it? And then because the librarian already know me and I've done she's seen me do day in the life for my own family. So with the camera around and documenting. And then so of course I pull up my portfolio and be like, hey, this is what I want to teach. Do you think there's a potential there? And then she's like, yes, please. And then so we just moved on to actually working on the logistics and all that. So yeah.
All right. So let's talk about, so you approached them, they said yes. And then I think that the part that's most unique about this is that you are not the one that is doing the marketing. So how does this help you market your class and therefore your business to your wider community?
Yeah. So think about it. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona area. I'm in a satellite city, but we're talking about Metro Phoenix. We have a lot of people here. And then when I get on the public program, because how libraries work, they want people to go to their program. So it's in their interest to make this program as successful as it can be. And they have a, very professional marketing team working for them to promote all of this, programs and stuff. So they're able to set up the Facebook events and then blast it out on their social media. And then of course they invite me as the co-host, right? So I'll get to interact with potential people and clients and students. And then they blast out through their email list, which is gigantic, right? And then because I'm out there and it's a public, service, so there are a lot of people watching. And then because I only offer this class actually at most maybe twice a year. So it's not like always happening, and there are always going to be people missing it or cannot make it. And then that way they will actually get to contact me like, hey, when is your next class and all that. And what's cool about this, I didn't realize initially. What I realized later is that there are also other people who want to hire teachers or watching these resources.
Ooh.
So I was actually contracted through our Child Protective Service because they offer career programs for kids who are ready to step back into the society. So I got to teach, I was hired, like I was paid to do it, to teach this kids photography essentially, bringing my online workshop offline.
Yeah.
And just because they found me and they missed my class. And then also because it's local events, we also have local newspaper. They always want to know what's going on and share, get traction. And so I was interviewed and they had an article about like what to do this weekend in Phoenix. And all that helps with my backlinks, right? They link to my website and I ask them to link when possible. And then just the exposure generally out there.
I mean, guys, I hope, I feel like we have to unpack this, but like all of that was so great. So first of all, you are not really having to market this opportunity. The library and by extension, the greater community are actually marketing it for you. Now, I know that someone is going to be wondering, okay, but like, how does this really help me grow my business besides exposure? Because I would say exposure doesn't usually pay your bills. However, this exposure sounds great, but there's got to be a way that you are actually collecting leads. So Amy, besides the people that actually attend your course, how is it that you are collecting leads for your family photography business?
Yes. So I usually create a freebie. I purposefully schedule my workshops at certain times. Mm-hmm. I've tweaked it over the years, so it's not always at the same time they kind of expect, which they're like, oh, I got to watch it. When is her next one, right? Mm-hmm. And then, so first, when people miss it, I'm like, get on my email list. So you're in the know. Because I tell people, I share all my upcoming events and workshops and also promotions and deals through my email list. So I have a landing page for them to just, sign up for my email list. And then what I do is that I create a freebie. So for the fall workshops, I have this thing called Family History and Survival Guide, essentially to teach people how to document your holiday season while staying present and survive, right? Because moms, I'm the one cooking the dinner, cooking the turkey, photographing me cooking the turkey and feed everybody the turkey, right? So it's just insane. So I have this guide created. And then so I'm like, hey, sorry you missed it or you're not able to make it, but here's the thing, go download it. And then I get their email address and then pull them into my email list.
Okay. I think I want to go from the very first time that you offered this class until now. What's the difference? How many people attended the class the very first time that you offered it versus the very last time that you've offered it?
So actually the number fluctuates because it's a public program. The first time when I offered it, I teach 2 classes in the series and I think I got 10 people for each. Okay. And then because I started before the pandemic and then so during the pandemic, I was actually doing it online through Zoom. And then the attendance actually went way up. But now we kind of went back down a little bit. Okay. So it's kind of it comes and goes. So it's not oh, I continue to grow the numbers.
But no, knowing that it fluctuates and knowing that you did go online during the pandemic, because I laugh every time someone comes on this podcast and they mention anything about 2020. I'm like, okay, wait, pre-pandemic or post-pandemic? Because that's an important piece of information. So I'm sorry, continue. So you were talking about it fluctuates over time.
Yeah, it fluctuates. And also because they have different branches. So I've also done different branches to see. And then it also I've realized that with one branch, it just does not work because of demographics. And with this other branch, it's an open room and people just walking by to the park nearby. And they're like, oh, there's a free workshop. And they'll just come in. So I think it's still like a very small group because it's a hands-on class. So I actually cap it at 30. So
Okay.
I don't let it go beyond that just for the experience because I
Well, I
want
mean,
people to.
it's still fabulous. So, because I know that you're a smart cookie, I'm going to assume that when you were putting out a link for people to join your mailing list or get the freebie, that you are somehow tagging them as people that you acquired from the public library. So, just
Yes.
tell me overall, how has this, what kind of, because I know people are like, okay, Amy, this sounds great, but like, who actually paid you? So, let's get to the attending a class and then becoming an actual like family photography client. What has that looked like over, the period of time that you've been offering this class?
Yeah. Because I do documentary, which is very different from lifestyle. So this is also why I want to do the class because as the documentary photographer yourself, like there's a lot of education needed before a family book a documentary session. So instead of just go out and hope that people will buy my idea, I teach them what
Mm-hmm.
this is. So I'm creating my clients and
You're
I'm
creating. Oh,
not,
oh,
yeah.
continue.
So I'm not like, so this is a long-term plan. So it's not like, oh, you come take my class and you book me the exact same
Mm-hmm.
year, right? My hope is that, okay, you take my class, get hooked about this genre and this approach and buy in the concept. And then, because I usually offer the class in the fall, right? You go try it. Yeah, sure, you're not going to do good, right? It takes a lot of practice. And then they'll come back, try to learn more, which I will promote my, like coaching or mentoring
Mm-hmm.
program, my one on one. And then they'll still do it. And then they realize that, yeah, I can do it, but I'm not in the frame.
Exactly.
And then they hire me. So that's kind of like a longer term. And
Mm-hmm.
also, for me, other than just a regular client session, I do commercial work and also I teach, I do education. So a lot of times I need models. So when I do documentary, like model calls, I would much rather have someone who's already
Yes.
like this genre instead of having me to like explain over and over and figure out that we're not a good fit. Right. So this is a very good client base for me to easily pull pull models out so I'm actually going to teach for an online retreat and then I needed a family to model. So I'm not paid by the family directly, but I'm paid to teach. And
Yes.
this is super easy for me to find clients. And then they've done it once as a model, they're hooked.
So for the ones, because you're right. I mean, this is really like a long-term strategy. I also feel like what you said, I didn't even think about that before I invited you onto the podcast, but it is really educating people to become our clients because people get hooked. Everyone wants to take pictures of their kids now. Everybody has an iPhone that actually probably takes some really amazing photos if you know what you're doing, but you are educating them on how to take them themselves. And at some point, everybody realizes, okay, I've got an entire phone full of pictures of my kids, but I'm not in any of them. That's why the tagline on my photography website is actually, don't you want to be in the photos too? Like that's the literal
Totally.
headline on my website. But do you have any idea over the last, I mean, it's been 5 years, Amy, over the last
Yeah.
5 years that you've done this, how many people have actually hired you for a documentary family session?
So directly from my student to my session,
Mhm.
I would say maybe 20. So
Okay.
not like a ton.
I mean, but
Um,
20 is a good number. 20 is
yeah,
20 is a good number because let me ask you a question. Those 20 people that have hired you, did they only hire you one time?
no,
No.
no.
So see,
Yeah,
so
they
you're
become
creating
like a
lifetime
repeat.
clients.
Yeah,
Exactly. They become groupies. Hey.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, so definitely long term, even if you've only had 20 people that have paid you, I mean, think about the fact that all you had to do was share time with your community, which is something that you were already very invested in doing, anyways. And
Mhm.
you've gotten 20 clients that paid you actual dollars. And then they have continued to be your clients, for future sessions. Now, do you know for a fact that any of those people have referred you to their friends?
Yes. And I've also had friends like people who've referred their friends or brought their friends to my workshop and then
Hmm.
turn into. So they didn't necessarily refer them from the photo session standpoint, but they refer someone to take the class, and then they both became clients.
Nice.
Yeah. And also something I want to mention is that, because like regular client session is only one part of my business.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also something I'm trying to help people understand, especially in a family photography business. A lot of people feel like this is a path, and you start and take photos of the family, and then that's where your business is going to end. But that's not exactly it. So I do work for nonprofits as well. And then I've done bigger commercial works where they essentially hired me to do a day in the life, and then to build a digital library for them as their marketing library. So sometimes when I try to calculate the return of investment, essentially.
Yes, the ROI.
So it's not just how many people came to my class and I booked them, right? So it can be a little tricky because there is not just a linear line. But I know, because I'm tracking it, like the amount of information I put out there, and I always tell people, where did you find me? And now more and more times it's either just Google, or they're like, oh, I found your class, but I was not able to make it. And then, so they will share this information, right? And then I get hired to teach. And then I get hired to do commercial work. So these are all the return of investment. So even though
From this
like
one
I've
marketing
capped,
activity.
yeah, because I'm a homeschool mom. I have 4 kids. So I purposefully
Amy, you're busy.
yeah. So I actually made a conscious choice to put my business as a part-time business. Just make sure that I don't overwork myself so I can take care of the other responsibilities. And I chose homeschool, so it's not like, so I want to put a lot of time for that. So that's also why I cap how many clients I even take each year. And then, so I just want to say not necessarily just think oh, I'm creating my clients. Yes, that's one part of it, but that's not all there is.
No, I get it,
because a lot of times I need to teach, right? So I need content. So then I go and do projects. And then because of those projects that I was initially going to just teach about and land into bigger commercial or nonprofit jobs.
Nice. I mean, this begs the question, though, because I think I homeschooled last year. And, Colie went to a co op that was hosted by the district, but we have very active homeschool community here in Boulder. And the greater Boulder area. Have you ever tried to create a class and specifically offer it to the homeschool community? Or do a lot of the homeschool community come to the library? I'm sorry, I'm fascinated now.
Yeah, I am. I'm actually in the process of creating something more specifically for the homeschool community. One is just most of the time when I work with family, and that's what I'm most comfortable with. But then when a kid is learning, that's what I've learned as well through teaching experience, right? I got to teach some teenagers. Their focus is very different. They're not out there trying to document kids. So I'm trying to find how should I approach that? And because my oldest is still so little, she's old enough, she wants to learn photography, but she's also young. So I'm actually pitched to the library. Next year, I'm going to use them as a trial run. I'm going to offer a camp over there for just teenagers, and then a group of essentially 3rd to 5th grader, and then 6 to 8, kind of the 2 chunks, and then chunk them up and offer the class over there and see how it goes. And then we'll go from there.
Yeah, and you're not the only one that's sparking this idea. I recently interviewed Rebecca Farron for the podcast. I'm not sure when this airs, if that episode will already be out, but Rebecca also teaches a camp for kids to learn how to take photos. And I don't think that her goal in doing it is to create an atmosphere of clients. It is more of she enjoys teaching photography and she just kind of wants to spread that joy. But it is another aspect of teaching and giving back, and this whole idea of making people more aware that, like in our case, documentary photography is something that everyday people can do just with their iPhones.
Yeah, totally. Totally. And also, I want
Mhm.
to point out is that, especially if you are teaching like classes to kids, I always invite their parents to come. So, like,
Nice.
of course, I word it as, it is a safety situation, right? I
Hmm.
like, hey, just come hang out, chill with us. But at the same time, the parents are learning and listening and say, oh, this is cool. So,
So let's talk about systems. I mean, you're one of my students from the CRM Blueprint, and I can't
yep.
help but ask you about the systems inside of your business, which honestly is a lot more than I thought it was. I thought I was just going to ask you about like your photography work, but how are you using systems in your business for like all of the different facets of what you have? So you have your education, you have your commercial, you have your nonprofit, and you have your family photography. So just tell me about the systems in your business and how they help you balance, honestly, homeschooling and being a family photographer.
Yeah, automation. Like that's the biggest thing. Like I just don't have time to sit there do the repeated stuff. When I when I started, I knew I need to have a workflow, but I'm also not the kind of person who would just go out and just, because everybody uses a CRM, I'm going to invest a lot in there, like money wise. So I can understand, like, the hesitation there because I was there. But I definitely got to a point I'm like, I just can't. Like, I don't have time. I don't even have enough time. If a machine can do it for me, I'll let the machine do it. So I'm not saying like totally taking me out of it, but it's more that, like, when an inquiry comes and they immediately get a response, like, hey, I got your inquiry. And then I'll be chatting with you in 24 hours and then, or like 48 hours,
Yes.
depends, right? And then depending on where the inquiry comes from, I have different forms embedded on different pages. So I know where they're coming from. And then so they get different response. And then so like for clients, I've written a blog post about what is documentary, what is a day in the life. So when the inquiry comes in, I send that blog post over. One, it drives traffic to my website, which is amazing. Yeah. And then they get to kind of know what they're getting into, because sometimes people they think they know what they want, but they don't, right? So walking them through the entire
Mm-hmm.
process, and another piece of education, and then while they're waiting, and then I can take my time as well to kind of decide, okay, how should I go about this lead? And then when I book, no matter what, like I get on a phone call with them, I chat with my potential client and then talk it out, because there is power in hearing the voice. And when you're just telling people through words, like online, when they read it, they're like, oh, that sounds good. But when you get to really tell them, they can feel like how excited you are and what your passion is and why you're doing what you're doing. And then so I can use the CRM, to send over a scheduler.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also very
Yes.
easy, like I don't have to sit down and then look at my schedule like on the spot. I can just send over the schedule and then we'll just go from there. And of course, all the booking process for family sessions and for education stuff. I like for just buying like online classes, I don't have them sign individual like contracts, but for mentoring programs,
Mm-hmm.
like one-on-one year-long mentoring programs, I do have them sign a contract. So that's also can be done through the CRM and all that. So it's really helping me a lot to not having to like try to remember everything in my brain, because I just can't. I have
Mm-hmm.
too much going on, so I need a system.
Yeah, I mean, and you mentioned the automated lead response, and I think like that is my favorite part of having a CRM, because the faster you respond to someone, the more likely they are to hire you. And so just
Mhm.
putting that email out is so important to keeping people engaged until you can actually contact them. And the fact that you're sending out a blog post telling them what documentary family photography is, I'm so proud of you. Mine that goes out as an automated lead response is these are 5 things that we can do during your documentary family photography session. Because I think a lot of people look at my work, and I'm sure that this happens for you. They look at the things that some of my clients are doing in a day in the life, and they're like, oh, I mean, I want one of those sessions, but I have no idea what we would do during the day. And while I tell them the most mundane moments inside of your house are probably going to be your favorite images, people get excited by like the activities. Do you find that to be true?
Yes, yes, for sure. And also, like in my blog post, I actually embed a slideshow. So they get to see
Nice.
not just a few images, they get to see like exactly all the little mundane moments that I catch as well. So yeah, and people are so excited. They're like, oh, this is so cool. I want to do this. And then I'm actually just
Mhm.
talking to a mom. And so she has 2 older kids and 1 younger kid. And we're going to do a family session for them. And she's like, oh, yeah, my boy has just started this business and doing this thing. Can you like tag along and maybe like document that? Because I never get to see that. And I'm like, of course. Like, so yeah, people are really excited, like with all the potentials. Like, oh yeah, now when I
Mhm.
think about it, like, oh, can we do this? Can we do that? Can we? So yeah, it's fun.
Now, what did your systems look like before you either took my course or you had Dubsado? Did you have Dubsado before you took my course?
No,
And
I
is Dubsado
didn't.
the first CRM that you've used? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Were you using a different CRM before?
No, I was not. I had my own setup just because one, I am very I'm very techy. I actually have a master's degree in electrical engineering. So
Mhm.
I'm just like very hands-on. I like to figure things out. So initially I thought like, it wouldn't be cool like to design my own website. I did coding for my own website and stuff just
Mhm.
because I thought it was fun. So I had all the workflow. So I know like I have all the templates saved and I have emails, like all that stuff. So essentially I just used different, like a lot of Dropbox and Google Drive and all that stuff. And then
Mhm.
I know where to pull things. So once the inquiry comes in, I have a workflow to go out, but is that initial contact that's missing. It takes me to actually get to it and then constantly checking my
Mhm.
email, trying to figure out like, oh, did I get a new email? So that's why I'm like, okay, I gotta just let go of like not my control, but just let it go. It's okay. Like I know how to do it, but I don't have to do it myself. So
Well, I feel like a lot of people overlook the value of just being able to go to one place because you're right. I mean, I could put together, systems that used multiple pieces of tools and, it might even be better in some aspects than using one CRM, but the value of like using a CRM, whether it's Dubsado or Honeybook or something else, is that all of those client interactions and all of that client data is in that one spot so that if you are curious if a client answered you or if they filled out their client questionnaire or if they paid the second invoice or any of those things, you can just go to your CRM and look versus, looking in PayPal or Stripe or looking in your Gmail or looking in all of these various places that just waste a lot of time. And Amy, you don't have a lot of time to waste.
yep. And also, like, what's really cool about a CRM, I think, is that you get to track them individually. If you use all different places, then there's no way for you to see that, like, path where they've gone. Like, and it's all scattered. But if it's in a CRM, you get to see all the different tags. Like, okay, they've gone on this path for a little bit and then they turn into that. Because I also have had students, so it's kind of fun. Like, people came to my class, booked a session, and decided to start their own photography business. And then they come
I
back to
mean, I'm
me
not surprised by that at all.
and then they come to me and try to learn the business side of things. So it's like without a CRM, with everything together, there's no way. Like you can see the path. Like it's just all over the
Mhm.
place.
And I'm all for getting these baby photographers. I don't mean that they photograph babies, guys. I mean that they are, in the infancy of their business. There is nothing more that I love to hear than getting these people into CRMs as quickly as possible because, they're so readily available now. I don't think anybody should have to suffer like I did in like the first, I think it was 4 or 5 years of my business, I didn't have a CRM. Like, oh, okay, 3 years. I opened in 2012 and I got my first CRM in 2015. It literally makes me cry to think about all the time that I wasted constantly checking my emails and constantly sending all the emails from scratch back in those first 3 years of business. I mean, if I could get all of that time back, Amy, what would I do with it? I mean, Amy, I feel like this conversation has been amazing. And I do want to leave our listening audience with just a few tips. So if you had to give advice to someone that's like, okay, this sounds cool, I want to see if I can do it in my area, what advice would you give someone in order to get this started?
Just go out there and network. Like, talk to people. Don't be afraid to pitch your idea, because the worst would be just no. It's not really you. A lot of times there are so many factors, going into it, but just go out and see what opportunities are out there. There are a lot. You can teach through the library. I've taught through so many different channels, and I'm sure there's something you can find a bigger group. That's the thing. Like, you want to leverage on their ability to market for you, of course. So just go to the library and talk to the librarian.
I'm sorry. Every time someone's talking and they say something, I'm like, oh, that's going to be the title of this episode. So you just said something that sparked, I now know what the title of this episode is going to be. Leverage someone else's audience for your marketing. Yes, I'm pretty sure. Amy, this has been absolutely amazing. If people want to find out more about you, your year-long mentorship, and other educational opportunities that you have, where can they find you on the internet?
So you can go to my website. It's amydangerfield.com, and I have a learning hub. So you can find all the learning resources out there, and or hire me for a documentary session as well. And I am on Instagram. So Amy Dangerfield Photography on Instagram. That's where you can find me.
All right, guys, I truly hope that listening to this episode that you got as excited about this concept of teaching photography through your local community and library potentially as I did when she first mentioned it. That's it for this episode. See you next time.